Weekend. I got to thinking about words again and their meaning and usage, often being borrowed and adapted for other words or meanings, as we are told. This one may be obvious to many, but even I didn't see it for ages. And it was thinking about days of the week and wondering about the word week to signify a 5-day consecutive stretch, ending in the all-coveted weekend. In my thought process, I likened it to the following. Week equals week. Throughout those 5 days, they drain you all week, using and taking your energy and time, and make you weak. Then we are taught to look forward to the weekend, or holidays, which funnily enough we have a saying for, to kind of show that we know we have been worn down. We say you need time off to recharge your batteries. Seems obvious now, doesn't it? But for days 6 and 7 of the allotted time frame, it's the weekend. The film The Matrix makes a point of saying we are batteries, used to power their machine and whole system. But unlike the rows and rows of pods plugged into a central point, sleeping and generating power, maybe there are different levels of it, almost crossing over into a Brave New World kind of scale, with some being low-grade energy, therefore confined to the factory pods. The ones walking around and living generate a good amount, and there are others who can utilise and create the vast amounts of energy generated through thought alone. With them wanting to have a 6G network powered by people being the antenna, it seems that could be more of a possibility than I had first considered. And I will admit it all sounds rather unlikely, or at least it used to. And potentially, all the things they talk of are just pie in the sky, and hopeful on their part. But there is also the possibility that it isn't, and those things that sound crazy on the face of it often don't after you have put it into perspective. They do now talk of growing humans in pods too, taking women out of the whole reproduction cycle mostly, although that isn't a surprise to me. I wondered how long before they took control of that process. Seems like an awfully important power for someone to have, to create and give life. It really is quite something. But as with everything, they never quite do what they say, and there is always an awful lot they aren't telling you. I will refer you to the film The Island if you haven't seen it, because it really does tie into this. Because while they tell you it is just for growing babies, to then be born and put into society, what if some aren't? What if they decide to have 2 factories, but one underground that you can't see, where they grow them, allow them to be born, and then just put them straight into slavery, or use them for testing, or keep them in pods forever? Now, you may think that seems a bit dramatic, and my imagination has run away with itself after watching too many films, and believe me, I wish it were that. But I will refer to my short article, YouTube vid, which explains it in 60 seconds, a very disturbing idea. Because once you know what they have casually discussed all those years ago, it really does change your perspective, or at least should in my opinion. With all the changes recently, it seems very much that everything we do as people is being quantified by usage, energy, and your overall footprint they would have you believe you are creating and leaving behind on the world. For the future generations, they would have you believe that will be your legacy. But instead of being the problem for wanting a normal life, our problem is that we keep following the system that drains us of our energy, having already been moulded into what they wanted. Well, now they want something else. Net zero. The opposite of the Industrial Revolution, I guess, where we stop using innovation and logic. They have made their fortunes doing that. Now it's time to make sure no one else can, and that industry must stop altogether. Replaced with a fanciful idea and painfully weak ethos and completely lacking common sense and practicality. To us anyway, maybe not to them. Because if you wanted to scale everything back and treat people as the commodity you see them as, it seems a good place to start.